Let that focus in. Alright, welcome to my new anime series where I will be going over animes and themes and just linking information from what books I've read throughout the past 6 months. I think it's crazy, and maybe I'll give some opposing opinions on it. And the anime that we're going to be going over, it's going to be series. I'm going to do it episode by episode. So I'll have it so that y'all can watch along as episodes come out every week, and the anime will be starting really is going to be, let me know in the comments section if you have anything to say or any comments or opposing opinions. Spoiler alert, because I'm not really going to try and hide anything, to be honest. This is just going to be exploring themes and ideas that I think some people might miss, or maybe something that I'm trying to introduce that people might have missed in the show. So I'm not going to be trying to hide any spoilers. I suggest you come and watch this after you watch the episode. Now, here at the beginning, the protagonist's mother and the grandmother, that's what it looks like anyway. They're approached by these two investigators, and it looks like they're trying to sell some sort of service. If I look down, that's because I'm looking at notes. Wrote down what I'm going to go over. It looks like they're offering, or not even offering, they're trying to register her to be a guinea pig or a research subject for, it looks like they're government officials, so I'm assuming it's government funded, but I'm just making assumptions here. But that just kind of reminded me of what was happening. I don't know if y'all know, but people were getting paid, as far as I know, outside of the US to test out COVID vaccines, and let's just say a lot of them weren't living. So it just makes, that's just what came to mind when I thought of that particular situation. In this world, AI or robots are 1% of the population, and you would think that 1% of the population probably isn't a lot in order for robots and AI to be assimilated into society. But let me remind y'all, in case you didn't know, less than 1% of the population are trans, and you see the amount of an impact that the LGBTQIA plus movement has on society as a whole. And at the end of the day, it could just be a loud minority, but that's beyond the point. The point is, it takes less than 1% of the population to essentially make a change, and for people to become more accepting of a new culture and or idea. And the levels of exception when it comes to people in new culture or technology is really prevalent when it comes to stuff like phones and AI, when it comes to helping businesses and people with school. And in this case, it's just some kid. He doesn't even look like he's an adult yet. He just wants to get implants in his head so he can play video games with his friends. So it's already evolved to a point where it's used as entertainment, and they're implanting this in his head. They didn't really go into specifics on how deep it is in the brain or whatever, but just know, in today's society, in 2023, if kids were having implants in their head or video games, I think there'd be huge backlash. Something equivalent to, if not worse than when violence was first being introduced into video games. They tried to make it out to be, oh, this is having a bad influence on the new generation and above, and violence and whatnot. And after years and years of research and data, it's definitely not the case. Here's the thing that I did not expect to see, and it's that it's illegal to make backups of the memories of AI. The reason is interesting to me. It's I wrote it down here. It's to protect the sanctity of personalities, and of course the other societal issues like stealing identities, which is an obvious thing because in the anime there are people that commit crimes with the identity of somebody that died. He's still alive and they're just using him to mess up shit in the world. So, you know, the sanctity of a personality is something I didn't really think would be part of law, because the sanctity or basically the holiness, I'll have the definition up here of sanctity, is something that was usually applied to the body when it comes to sexual interaction, especially more so for the woman. And you saw how quickly that broke down in literally the last probably 5 to 20 years, because it started a long time ago and it's like domino effect, and now you're basically not cool if you don't have an OnlyFans. But literally within the episode, they already confront us with an opposing opinion for us and the protagonist, when there's a mother that basically gets a virus from backing up her identity, which she probably wouldn't have got that in the first place if she wasn't illegally backing up her memory / personality. So really it's her fault. But she gets a virus and it's slowly eating away at her brain, and she's essentially going to become, well, a husk. And our protagonist is a doctor, and she goes to him, or the husband goes to him, to come to the house and get her fixed, implying that the protagonist, who is a doctor for these robots, does under-the-counter work, if you know what I'm saying, for these AI robots. It makes you think, and this opinion is already out there, it's not the backing up of these memories and personalities that's bad, it's more so the people that are bad. So the mom wants to back up her memory so that she can be there, well, for her family if something were to happen to her, as opposed to this other guy whose identity they use long after he died so that they can commit crimes, or use his personality to commit crimes. Basically, they put these memories and personalities into other AI robots. I'm assuming that's how that interaction goes down. So there's a good and bad. It's the same thing for guns. It's not the guns that are bad, it's the people. You can say the same thing about trucks. It's not, people drive bad all the time, but it's not the trucks that are bad, it's the people. You get my drift here. It also makes me think about the concept of immortality. For a while, anime has always answered the question of whether immortality is bad for humans. So far, based on what I've seen from anime like Evangelion or Zegapane, usually on the path to immortality, you forego a lot of your human personality or traits that give you individuality, or the reason for you even wanting immortality in the first place, and usually by the end of the show they revert back and choose to be human. I don't necessarily agree with that for right now, but you know, it's a good work of art. It begs a question nonetheless. Another thing that they brought up that I didn't think would even be an issue for robots is that the mom was worried that after she's reset, because in the anime they have to format her like a flash drive so that she can get a clean copy of herself up to a certain point, but all the memories that she gained between that time and now will be forgotten. So it's almost like she wouldn't be her current self. And even in that moment where her and the husband are on the bench sitting down, she said that she would forget the warmth that she's feeling at that current moment. And the warmth is basically the husband being there for her in a moment where she's at her lowest. If you were to clone yourself, your consciousness doesn't go into that clone. Your consciousness is still going to be separate from the clone's consciousness. And so that literally isn't you. And I'm assuming it's kind of along those same lines for this robot here. And I just thought that was interesting, because you would think that robots or / AI wouldn't feel that way. But whoever designed these robots to be that way within this current universe gave them a lot of human characteristics, and I think for good reason. I think there's a reason to that, and I guess we'll get more answers and questions for that whole concept as we go on in the anime. So remember at the beginning of the anime when the protagonist's mother figure is basically about to sign herself away to become a research subject that's just my opinion. So now at the end of the anime, we see she's behind a glass window, and I'm assuming it's jail or / prison, and the protagonist is coming to visit her. So we know that it's illegal for you to back up memories, and this is literally what the protagonist's mother is doing at the beginning of the show, and obviously she wasn't able to escape the penalty of the law. And it looked like whoever invited her to be this subject had decent connections and or was a part of the government, but she still ended up going to jail. So what's really going on here? It's like they're already showing the small roots of corruption within the law that's in place in this world when it comes to AI slash robots, and the protagonist is a victim of that, more specifically the mother. And you see all types of stuff like that in our current society already. I'm sure if you go research, you can find a bunch of people who went to jail for trying to help out the government or work for the government, and something hits the fan and they got to place the blame on somebody. And so you see that basically happen to, and who knows if that's even his mother, because from the way that the protagonist was conversating with the robot, the interaction to me, it seemed like he wasn't connected to her, and it was more so out of remembrance or respect. So what comes to mind to me is that that's not his mother, and that's possibly a clone, and he's in search for the real one. No, I know that's a lot. That's a lot from episode 1, right? But it's crazy. I think it's interesting, and I'm hoping that this will ask a lot of other questions as to how robots and AI will eventually be implemented into our society and become part of our culture, for good or for the bad. I can comment any questions or opinions on what y'all thought whenever you were watching the anime. You know, what are some things that you noticed that I didn't mention in this video? Put it down in the description and let me know if you want to keep seeing more. I'll know based on the likes and interactions that I get. Y'all be safe and stay hydrated. It's 100 degrees.